Hello and welcome to the Global Energy and Climate Policy MOOC provided by SOAS, University of London. Over the next 6 weeks, we will discuss a number of issues that are relevant to energy and climate policy studies. Around the world, energy systems are undergoing a period of transformative change as countries are looking for ways to decarbonize the production of energy while maintaining competitiveness and economic growth. This transformation is necessary and urgently needed if we are to address anthropogenic, that is man-made, climate change and its consequences. Many of these consequences are already materializing today. The world needs to swiftly transition away from an emissions-intensive fossil fuel path towards a clean, low-carbon energy system of the future in order to limit the rise in global average surface temperatures to below 2 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. And so in week 1, we begin by looking at the role of fossil fuels in a carbon-constrained world. If we're serious about addressing climate change, then most of the coal, oil and gas currently in the ground will have to remain there. If we burn it, and do so without applying technological solutions such as carbon capture and sequestration, we are going to overshoot our global carbon budget. So this first week is about how we can stay within our limits and meet the necessary mitigation targets, making sure that unburnable carbon and the role of fossil fuels are addressed in a climate-changed future. In week 2, we're going to talk about nuclear power. Nuclear power is considered a low-carbon energy source when compared to fossil fuels. However, there are a number of drawbacks to nuclear power which make it difficult to apply it on a scale bigger than what we already have in place around the world today. So we will think about and discuss the advantages and disadvantages of nuclear power, what role it could play to help decarbonize the energy system, and what might prevent us from upscaling nuclear further from its current levels. While weeks 1 and 2 offer insights into the role of incumbent energy sources, week 3 turns the page to renewables as the more recent market entrants. This week is about the policy tools and levers that have helped renewable sources such as wind and solar grow to where they are now. What needs to happen to scale them up further? What policy interventions might be required to speed up the transition to renewables and decarbonize our energy systems? What role can renewable sources play going beyond electricity generation, specifically looking at heating and transportation? Week 4 will take our focus to the international level. We will talk about governance architectures and the climate change and energy fields. What's important for us here is to think about why energy and climate change have been so compartmentalized in the past, despite the direct and obvious interlinkages between the two. Most of the global greenhouse gas emissions are generated through the production and consumption of energy, and therefore addressing the climate crisis critically depends on our ability to affect changes in energy markets and their international governance. In week 5, we will address energy security dimensions. How can we ensure the uninterrupted availability of sufficient amounts of energy at affordable prices, the traditional definition of energy security, while also producing this energy sustainably? How can we have energy security that isn't simply an all-of-the-above strategy, but one which also directly addresses climate change mitigation and adaptation needs? At this point, the compulsory units of the course conclude. If you wish to continue on, you have the option of undertaking a capstone exercise in week 6. For this exercise, you will assume the role of a state, an international organization, a multinational corporation, or an NGO, commenting on the significance of the Paris Agreement on climate change. This additional exercise gives you the opportunity to pursue your interests more in depth, in part through an essay of up to 1,000 words. But whether you stay with us for 5 weeks or also take part in the optional exercise in week 6, my colleagues and I hope that you enjoy your time on the Global Energy and Climate Policy MOOC. We're excited to have you, so let's get started.